Welcome back. Things have heated up in Washington, and it's not just the weather. Joining us to talk about the D.C. mayor's race, Maryland's healthcare exchange, and more, Barbara Lang, CEO of Lang Strategies, and Mary Kane, President and CEO of Sister Cities International and former candidate for Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. Ladies, welcome to you both. Barbara, quite the week, but let's start with Thursday night, where you got a big award. Along with Julie Rogers, you were both recognized by Leadership Greater Washington as two of the city's great innovators. So kudos to you on that award.
Thank you.
It was also a big night because it was the first time that Mayor Gray and Muriel Bowser had come together since election night. We did manage to get them both up on the stage together. We don't have the picture of the shaking of the hands, but there's the picture of the thumbs up from Muriel Bowser. But it's not quite a warm and cozy relationship yet. You know both of them well, Barbara. Where do we go from here?
I think we're going to have to let some time go first. This was a bruising campaign. They didn't have the best relationship before the campaign, and so you're going to have to let some time. I think they'll both get there. They both want to do what's right for the District of Columbia and for its citizens, and so they'll get there. But you got to let some time settle in and allow the mayor. This was a bruising loss for him and an unexpected loss for him.
The chamber endorsed Mayor Gray, but it was a sizable win for Muriel Bowser. What does she bring to the business community, just quickly?
Well, you know, she currently chairs economic development, so she's been very engaged in some of the economic development projects and has generally been supportive of those initiatives. So I'm hoping that that will continue.
I'm sure it will. Mary Kane, you've been through it all before, but your big week last week was bringing together so many different leaders for a U.S.-China Sister Cities conference. Thanks to you, that's how we got to talk to Jim Murin from MGM Grand. I was surprised to learn through you just how many U.S.-China Sister City relationships there are, including right here in the Washington area.
Yes, actually Washington, D.C. is Sister Cities with Beijing.
A good one to get.
And it's the 30th anniversary this year, actually, for that one. In the United States, we have about over 200 U.S. cities and states that have relationships with China.
So I moderated a CEO panel that you organized, and in preparing for that, one of the books I read is called What the U.S. Can Learn from China. It's a great book that I highly recommend by former investment trader Ann Lee. And one of the lessons she taught in that book that I took from it is because China is a political system where it is run more by engineers than lawyers, they're very data-driven, they're very systems-driven. And she makes the point that one thing we can learn from them is they try everything out on the micro level in China before they take it to the macro level. And I thought, I wish we could do it that way here. We might have been able to ease into Obamacare. This week, the Maryland Healthcare Exchange is having to do a do-over. What's your take on that?
Well, I agree with you as far as China. In fact, Maryland started their first relationship with Anhui Province, and then they built their relationships through China. That's when we opened an office in Beijing and Shanghai. But you're right, you should try it out on a smaller scale, because if it doesn't work, there is a lot to pay.
We used to do pilot projects. I think they did. When I was worked in Congress, we still do somewhat. But there
was a rush, thoh. There was a rush to get this done.
There was a rush to get it done, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of alternatives right now through the political process. It's hard to do things effectively, it seems like, any which way. Are you worried about where we go from here with the Maryland Healthcare Exchange, or do you see new promise now that we've brought in Deloitte? Not we, but the governor's bringing in Deloitte and pressing a do-over and getting rid of IBM.
I actually think it's good. Okay, it didn't work. Let's go on to something else and look at one that did work. And Connecticut is apparently working very well. So bringing in a new person, I mean, it's going to happen, so why not do it right?
Barbara Lang, your take on all this. You had to work closely with the D.C. Exchange as they launched.
D.C.'s went pretty well. Certainly there were challenges, but by comparison, nothing like
they did have the advantage of size, but they have been a well-run organization.
They have. Mila Kaufman has been awesome, and I think it all has to start with the leadership at the top, and I think that is where Maryland had some challenges along the way. I hope they get it right. This is incredibly important, but more importantly, don't try to accomplish everything with a rollout. And I think that's what everybody tried to do. It's too much, too soon.
Do you think this will have an impact on the governor's race, Mary Kane?
I'm not sure how much of an impact it's going to have on the governor's race. It'll be interesting in the primary.
It certainly will. Mary Kane, Barbara Lang, lots of primaries that have been interesting. Thanks so much. And we'll be right back. Stay with us.